Listen to me closely. There is a truth so powerful, so transformative, that if you let it take root in your mind, it will unlock a level of freedom you've never known. And here's that truth. The less you want, the more you have. True wealth comes from gratitude, not possessions, because gratitude shifts your entire perspective on life and opens your eyes to blessings you may have been overlooking every single day. When your mind is focused only on material gain, there is a constant sense of insufficiency that creeps into your heart, making you feel like what you have is never enough. That feeling of lack is a trap, keeping you chasing something that may never bring the satisfaction you thought it would. But when gratitude becomes the foundation of your life, every breath you take, every opportunity you receive, and every resource in your hand becomes a sign of abundance, not scarcity. Gratitude allows you to see the wealth you already carry, the relationships you've built, the experiences you've gained, and the strength you've developed through challenges that others may never know. The problem with possessions is they create a never-ending cycle of desire, because no matter how much you own, there is always more to chase. A bigger house, a nicer car, the latest technology, or the newest trend always stands in front of you, whispering that your current state is not enough. This illusion of more keeps people in bondage, making them spend their lives working tirelessly for things that bring temporary satisfaction at best. Gratitude breaks that cycle because it redirects your focus from what's missing to what's present, from what's lacking to what's overflowing, and that is where true wealth begins to flourish in your life. When you practice gratitude daily, you train your mind to look beyond the surface level of possessions and into the deeper value of what truly matters. That simple shift in perspective changes how you approach your work, your relationships, and your personal growth, because it is no longer about impressing others or competing with their lifestyles, but about honoring the blessings that have already been entrusted to you. Gratitude changes your posture toward life because it teaches you to appreciate every small detail, every small win, and every moment of growth, and that mindset is what creates true fulfillment. Gratitude also strengthens your resilience because when challenges come, and they will, a grateful heart doesn't collapse under the pressure, but instead finds hope and purpose in the storm. Instead of complaining about what is not working, gratitude teaches you to celebrate what is still working, what is still possible, and what is still within your control. That is why some of the wealthiest individuals in spirit are not those with the largest bank accounts, but those with the richest perspective on life. They understand that joy cannot be purchased, peace cannot be packaged, and love cannot be bought. Yet these are the things that make life truly meaningful. When you choose gratitude over greed, you release yourself from the invisible chains that keep people striving without satisfaction. You begin to see that your life is already overflowing with opportunities, skills, relationships, and lessons that money could never buy. Gratitude shifts your energy, and as your energy changes, so do the opportunities you attract. People are drawn to someone who is genuinely grateful because gratitude radiates confidence, humility, and positivity in a way that no amount of material possessions can replicate. Possessions can bring temporary pleasure, but they will never deliver lasting peace. Lasting peace is birthed through gratitude because it allows you to live fully in the present moment rather than constantly chasing a future that feels out of reach. Gratitude teaches you that everything you truly need to succeed is already within your reach if you are willing to see it. It helps you stop comparing yourself to others because comparison steals joy and blinds you to your unique journey. Gratitude restores your vision and gives you the ability to recognize your own path and purpose without feeling the weight of competition. Gratitude also opens the door to generosity, and generosity is a true measure of wealth. When you are grateful for what you have, you are more willing to share it because you understand that abundance is not about accumulation, but about flow. You stop holding on tightly out of fear of loss, and you start giving freely because you trust that what you give will always come back multiplied in some way. This creates a cycle of abundance that is rooted in faith and trust rather than fear and scarcity. Living with gratitude makes your possessions serve you rather than control you. Instead of being owned by what you own, you become a steward of the blessings you have been given. This mindset allows you to live with peace, whether you have little or much, because your happiness is not tied to the size of your house, the price tag on your clothes, or the amount in your bank account. You can enjoy nice things, but you no longer need them to validate your worth because gratitude has already confirmed your value. True wealth through gratitude also transforms your relationships because when you are thankful, you treat people with more kindness, respect, and love. Gratitude shifts your interactions because it makes you more aware of the role others play in your life, whether it is family, friends, colleagues, or mentors. This creates deeper connections and stronger bonds because gratitude naturally attracts people who value authenticity and appreciation over material success. Those relationships often become your greatest treasures because they are built on love, trust, and mutual respect rather than on superficial gain. The more gratitude you cultivate, the more your life feels abundant, no matter your circumstances. Even during difficult times, gratitude gives you the perspective to see blessings hidden in challenges, growth hidden in pain, and lessons hidden in failures. It teaches you that wealth is not about what you own, but about who you become in the process of life. That's why gratitude is not just a feeling, but a way of thinking, a way of living, and a decision you make every single day to see the good, acknowledge it, and build on it without needing more to validate your worth. Contentment is strength, not settling, because it takes an incredible amount of courage and discipline to be at peace with where you are while still striving for where you're going. Many people confuse contentment with complacency, believing that being content means you've given up on ambition or stopped chasing excellence. But in reality, contentment is a deep sense of confidence and gratitude that allows you to move forward from a place of stability rather than desperation. When you are content, you are not bound by comparison or the pressure to prove your worth through material success. Instead, you operate with a sense of fulfillment that gives you clarity and direction. Contentment is a quiet power because it anchors your heart and mind, keeping you from being swayed by the noise of the world that constantly tries to convince you that you are not enough. To be content is to possess a strength that many overlook because it is not flashy or loud. It is not the type of power that shows itself through titles, wealth, or recognition, but rather through a calm confidence that nothing outside of you can shake your foundation. When you have contentment, you can enjoy life without being consumed by envy, greed, or restlessness, and that ability to remain steady gives you a tremendous advantage in your personal and professional life. You are no longer making decisions out of fear or lack, but out of purpose and alignment with your values. That is why contentment is not weakness. It is strength because it requires emotional maturity and spiritual grounding to remain unshaken in a world driven by constant competition. Contentment also allows you to fully appreciate the journey rather than being obsessed only with the destination. It teaches you that fulfillment is not something you achieve at the end of your success, but something you choose to experience along the way. So many people are so focused on what they do not have that they fail to enjoy the blessings they already possess. Contentment opens your eyes to the present moment and lets you see opportunities, lessons, and beauty that you would otherwise miss while chasing after something that may never truly satisfy you. It shifts your focus from lack to abundance, giving you the emotional stability and strength to thrive regardless of your circumstances. When you are content, you are free from the trap of comparison that steals joy and keeps so many people stuck in cycles of insecurity. Contentment empowers you to embrace your unique path, your unique timeline, and your unique blessings without feeling pressured to match someone else's pace. This kind of strength is rare because it requires you to fully trust yourself and the process of your growth, even when it doesn't look like what others are experiencing. It allows you to celebrate your progress without downplaying it and celebrate others without feeling inferior. That kind of inner peace is a powerful weapon against doubt and fear because you are grounded in who you are becoming rather than desperate to prove something to the world. The strength of contentment also gives you the patience to make wise decisions rather than rushed ones. People who are not content often move too quickly, grabbing at opportunities or possessions out of a sense of urgency or insecurity. But when you are content, you can wait for the right timing without feeling like you're losing out. You don't need to force doors open because you are confident that what's meant for you cannot be taken from you. This kind of inner confidence and trust gives you a calm authority over your life because you know that real success is built step by step, not out of panic or fear of missing out. Contentment builds resilience because it gives you the ability to withstand both lack and abundance without letting either define you. When you are content, you can have much and remain humble, or have little and remain grateful, because your sense of worth is not tied to your possessions or circumstances. This strength protects your mind and heart from the highs and lows of life because you understand that your value is not determined by external factors. You become unshakable because your peace is internal, rooted in a deep sense of gratitude, purpose, and trust. Choosing contentment does not mean giving up on growth. It means growing from a place of power rather than pressure. People who are content can work harder, dream bigger, and achieve more because their motivation is not driven by insecurity, but by vision and purpose. This creates a healthier relationship with success because you are no longer working to fill a void, but to maximize your potential. Contentment gives you the ability to strive for more while being deeply appreciative of what you already have. And this balance is what creates long-term success that doesn't come at the cost of your peace. Contentment also protects your energy because it removes the constant anxiety and dissatisfaction that comes from trying to keep up with the world's definition of success. When you're content, you're not chasing approval or validation, which means your focus is sharper and your energy is used more effectively. This ability to stay centered gives you an edge because while others are distracted by comparison or fear, you are fully engaged in building, creating, and living a meaningful life. Contentment is a form of self-mastery that allows you to control your emotions, thoughts, and desires rather than being controlled by them. A content person becomes a magnet for peace and opportunity because people are naturally drawn to those who radiate confidence without arrogance and gratitude without complacency. When you are content, you are no longer needy, and this makes you more attractive in business, relationships, and leadership as your presence exudes stability. This strength influences others because contentment is rare, and people gravitate toward those who are genuinely fulfilled. It inspires trust and respect because others can sense that your happiness is not conditional or fragile, but rooted in something much deeper than possessions or status. Ultimately, contentment is a decision that requires strength every single day because it means choosing to see the good even when life feels difficult, choosing to be grateful even when you desire more, and choosing to stand firm even when circumstances try to shake you. It is an intentional mindset that transforms your life because it allows you to build from a place of inner abundance rather than outer lack. And this choice gives you a level of freedom that no amount of wealth or success alone could ever provide. The desire for more creates slavery because it traps the human mind in a cycle of endless pursuit where satisfaction is always just out of reach and peace is constantly delayed until some future moment that never truly arrives. When a person becomes consumed by the need for more wealth, more possessions, more recognition, or more power, they unknowingly place themselves in a position of bondage to their desires, allowing their happiness and self-worth to be dictated by what they have not yet achieved. This type of slavery is dangerous because it masquerades as ambition, making people believe they are chasing success when in reality they are being controlled by a mindset of lack that whispers they will never have enough. The pursuit of more becomes an addiction, and like all addictions, it steals freedom and replaces it with dependence, keeping individuals restless, anxious, and unsatisfied no matter how much they gain. In this state, life becomes an exhausting race where the finish line keeps moving further away with every step. The moment a person reaches a goal, a new desire emerges, and the cycle repeats itself, convincing them that happiness is just one more purchase, one more promotion, one more milestone away. Instead of enjoying the present, they are haunted by the fear of not having enough. And this fear controls their choices, their relationships, and their sense of self. The slavery of desire is subtle because it disguises itself as progress. But true progress is measured by growth and peace, not by accumulation. The need for more robs people of the ability to experience joy where they are because they are always fixated on where they are not. This slavery becomes even more destructive when it is fueled by comparison because seeing others with more wealth, success, or influence intensifies feelings of inadequacy. Social media, advertising, and culture often feed this desire by constantly reminding people of what they don't have, creating a sense of urgency and discontentment that drives unhealthy ambition. Instead of pursuing growth from a place of purpose, people begin chasing after validation from others, seeking external approval to fill an internal void. The problem is that external validation never satisfies the soul because it is temporary and dependent on circumstances, leaving people chained to the opinions of others and trapped in a cycle of insecurity and striving. The desire for more also enslaves people financially as they begin to overextend themselves to maintain appearances or acquire things they think will bring them happiness. Debt becomes a heavy chain, and financial stress robs them of freedom, health, and peace of mind. This is why many individuals who appear wealthy on the outside often carry an invisible burden that weighs them down because their lifestyle is fueled by fear of falling behind rather than true abundance. Slavery to desire makes people sacrifice their future stability for temporary satisfaction, trading long-term peace for short-term pleasure. and this trade leaves them trapped in a cycle that becomes harder to break over time. The weight of this slavery is not only financial, but emotional, as the constant longing for more creates anxiety and dissatisfaction that seeps into every part of life. Relationships often suffer because people consumed by desire may become too busy, too distracted, or too self-centered to truly connect with others. The desire for more power, more influence, or more recognition can turn relationships into transactions where people are valued not for who they are, but for what they can provide. This mindset leads to isolation because when life is ruled by desire, genuine connection becomes rare and fulfillment becomes even harder to find, creating a deeper sense of emptiness despite having more possessions or achievements. Slavery to desire also affects mental and physical health because the constant pursuit of more creates stress, exhaustion, and burnout. People push themselves beyond their limits in pursuit of success, believing that rest is a luxury they cannot afford, yet the more they chase, the less satisfied they feel. This lifestyle erodes joy, damages health, and diminishes quality of life because the pursuit of more becomes a master that demands everything while giving little in return. The very things people sacrifice their peace to acquire often become meaningless once obtained, creating a cycle of disappointment that feeds further desire, trapping them deeper in dissatisfaction. The tragedy of this slavery is that it blinds people to the blessings they already have. When the focus is always on what is missing, gratitude fades, and life begins to feel like a constant struggle instead of a gift. People fail to recognize the value of their time, their relationships, their talents, and even their health because they are too busy chasing what they believe will complete them. The slavery of desire robs individuals of presence, causing them to miss moments of joy and opportunities for growth that are right in front of them because their minds are always fixed on the future. This creates a never-ending cycle of longing where happiness is always postponed and life becomes a series of not enough moments. The illusion of more also distorts priorities, making people believe that material success is the highest form of achievement. In this mindset, character development, inner peace, and spiritual growth are often neglected because they do not provide instant gratification or public recognition. This leads to a hollow form of success where someone may have everything the world admires but still feel empty and unfulfilled on the inside. The slavery of desire turns life into a performance rather than a journey, making people constantly prove their worth instead of living in alignment with their true values and purpose. Breaking free from this slavery requires a radical shift in perspective, but many never experience it because they believe that fulfillment is found in achieving the next goal rather than in appreciating what they already possess. Desire is not inherently wrong, but when it becomes the master of your life, it strips you of freedom and joy, turning every accomplishment into another step on a treadmill that never stops. True freedom comes when you no longer live under the weight of needing more to feel complete. But the grip of this slavery is so strong because it convinces you that happiness is always one step away while keeping you trapped in dissatisfaction. When the desire for more controls your life, it also blinds you to the truth that the abundance is not measured by accumulation, but by contentment. Many people work tirelessly for wealth or status, thinking that achieving more will finally give them peace, but peace cannot be bought. And true wealth cannot be measured in possessions. The slavery of desire keeps people in a constant state of striving without rest, comparing without contentment, and consuming without gratitude, which is why so many live lives that appear full on the outside, but feel empty on the inside. This cycle continues until a conscious decision is made to break free. But breaking free begins with understanding that more is not always better. And that peace is found not in wanting more, but in becoming more. Shift your focus from need to action, because living in a constant state of need creates a mindset of lack that traps you in inaction while convincing you that your circumstances must change before you can move forward. When you dwell on what you don't have, your mind becomes consumed by excuses and limitations, and you start to believe that your progress depends on resources, opportunities, or help that are not yet in your possession. This focus on need drains your energy, clouds your vision, and makes your goals feel distant and unattainable. Action, on the other hand, unlocks momentum because it shifts your attention from scarcity to possibility, empowering you to use what you have instead of waiting for what you lack. It is in taking steps forward, even small ones, that breakthroughs are born, because movement creates opportunity, while dwelling on need only deepens the sense of being stuck. Many people spend years stuck in cycles of planning, wishing, and waiting, believing they need to acquire more skills, more connections, or more money before they can begin, yet they overlook the truth that greatness is not built from abundance, but from resourcefulness. Action forces you to be creative with what is already in your hands. And this creativity often reveals that you already possess far more than you realized. Waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect set of circumstances only prolongs your progress, because that moment never truly arrives. Those who achieve greatness are not the ones who had everything in place before they started, but the ones who took imperfect action and learned to maximize every resource they had along the way. When you focus on need, you often become paralyzed by fear, because your mind magnifies everything you lack, making your dreams feel impossible. Fear thrives in stagnation, but action weakens fear, because each step forward builds confidence and momentum. Even small actions begin to change your mindset, proving to yourself that you are capable of moving forward regardless of your limitations. This is why the decision to act is so powerful. It breaks the mental stronghold of scarcity and replaces it with a sense of control and purpose. When you act, you shift your identity from being someone who waits to someone who creates. And this shift transforms your results, because life responds to movement. Focusing on need also keeps you trapped in comparison, because when you believe you don't have enough, you look to others who seem further ahead and convince yourself that they only succeeded because they had something you lack. This mindset breeds envy and discouragement, but when you focus on action, you stop measuring yourself against others and start focusing on what you can do today to get closer to your goals. Action eliminates excuses, because it forces you to confront the reality that the biggest obstacle to your success is not what you don't have, but what you haven't done. Each action you take builds momentum and confidence, and over time, these small steps compound into massive results. Action also attracts opportunities, because people are drawn to movement. When you take action, even when you feel unprepared, you create visibility, momentum, and connections that would never have been possible had you stayed still. The world responds to those who are willing to act with what they have, because action demonstrates faith, courage, and initiative. Many doors remain closed to those who wait for them to open, but those who act often create new doors, new pathways, and new relationships that lead to success. Action positions you for favor and opportunity, because it proves that you are serious about your growth and willing to do what others are afraid to do. Shifting from need to action also changes your relationship with time, because when you focus on need, time feels like an enemy. You feel behind, stuck, and pressured because you see yourself as lacking the resources to make progress. But when you take action, time becomes your ally, because every day becomes a step toward growth and achievement. Action redeems time by turning waiting seasons into building seasons, where you are actively creating opportunities rather than passively hoping for them to come. This shift in perspective helps you understand that success is not a single event, but a series of consistent actions taken over time. Taking action also develops character and resilience in ways that waiting never can. When you choose to act in the face of uncertainty, you build courage, problem-solving skills, and perseverance. Challenges become opportunities for growth, because every obstacle you encounter teaches you how to navigate adversity and sharpen your abilities. This is why action is so transformative. It not only moves you forward externally, but also develops you internally, making you stronger and more capable of handling future opportunities. Focusing on need keeps you stagnant, but focusing on action makes you stronger, because it forces you to grow with every step. Another powerful truth about action is that it builds confidence through experience. Many people believe they need confidence before they take action, but confidence is often the result of action, not the prerequisite for it. When you focus on need, you wait for a feeling of readiness that may never come. But when you act, you create that readiness by proving to yourself that you are capable of achieving more than you thought. Each time you take action, your belief in yourself grows, and this belief becomes a driving force that propels you even further. Confidence is not built by waiting, but by doing, and action is the catalyst that turns dreams into reality. Focusing on action instead of need also frees you from the trap of perfectionism. When you are overly focused on what you lack, you often become obsessed with doing everything perfectly to compensate for those perceived deficiencies. This mindset keeps you stuck, because perfection is an illusion that prevents progress. Action, however, embraces imperfection because it recognizes that progress matters more than perfection. Each imperfect step forward teaches you something valuable and brings you closer to your goal, whereas waiting for the perfect time, the perfect plan, or the perfect conditions keeps you stagnant. Imperfect action is always better than perfect inaction, because movement creates growth, while hesitation creates regret. Ultimately, shifting your focus from need to action allows you to take back control of your future, because it moves you from a place of dependence to a place of empowerment. When you act, you prove to yourself that you are not defined by your circumstances, but by your choices. You stop waiting for opportunities to come to you and start creating them. This mindset change is powerful because it breaks the chains of fear and limitation that hold so many people back. Action is the great equalizer, because it does not require you to have everything figured out. It only requires you to take the next step with what you already have, and that step has the power to change everything. Abundance is a perspective, not a price tag, because true wealth has nothing to do with the amount of money you possess, and everything to do with how you view your life, your opportunities, and the resources you already have at your disposal. A person can have millions of dollars and still feel empty, fearful, and unsatisfied, while another person with modest means can feel rich beyond measure, because they see their blessings clearly and choose to focus on them. Abundance is an internal reality before it becomes an external one, because wealth begins in the mind. It is a decision to see possibility instead of limitation, to recognize that you are equipped to create more rather than feeling like you are constantly lacking. This mindset shapes your choices, your energy, and ultimately your outcomes, because your life moves in the direction of your dominant thoughts and beliefs. When you see abundance as a perspective, you realize that it is not tied to material possessions, but to gratitude. Gratitude is what opens your eyes to everything you already have, turning ordinary things into treasures. A roof over your head becomes a blessing rather than an afterthought. The relationships in your life become priceless rather than something you take for granted, and your skills, talents, and opportunities become evidence that you already have seeds of wealth within you. When you view life through this lens, your energy shifts, and this shift allows you to attract more because you are not moving from desperation, but from appreciation. Gratitude expands abundance because it changes how you carry yourself and how you approach every challenge you face. Abundance as a perspective also frees you from the trap of comparison, because when you believe abundance is tied to a number or a possession, you will always measure yourself against others and feel like you are behind. But when you see abundance as a state of mind, you stop competing and start creating, because you understand that your value is not determined by what you own or how you rank next to someone else. Comparison is a thief of joy because it blinds you to your unique gifts and opportunities, but abundance thinking restores that joy by helping you appreciate your own path. You no longer feel the need to prove your worth through external validation, because you already know your worth internally, and that is what makes you truly wealthy. Abundance is also about recognizing possibilities where others see limitations. When your mind is trained to see lack, you only notice what you don't have, and you miss opportunities right in front of you. But an abundant perspective makes you resourceful. It teaches you to look at what you have in your hand and find ways to multiply it. Many of the world's most successful people started with very little in terms of material wealth, but had a perspective of abundance that allowed them to see opportunity where others saw obstacles. This mindset is powerful because it shifts your identity from a victim of circumstances to a creator of outcomes. Abundance is not about waiting for more, but about using what you already have to create more. When you tie your sense of abundance to a price tag, you create a cycle of endless chasing where enough is never truly enough. The moment you achieve a financial milestone or acquire something you thought would satisfy you, the satisfaction fades, and you find yourself longing for the next thing. This creates a life of striving without contentment, which is why so many people with wealth still feel empty inside. Abundance thinking breaks this cycle because it teaches you to live with a sense of fulfillment now, regardless of how much you currently own. This doesn't mean you stop striving for more. It means you strive from a place of fullness rather than emptiness, which makes every accomplishment more meaningful. A perspective of abundance also influences your relationships because it allows you to approach others from a place of generosity rather than scarcity. When you feel abundant, you don't see other people as competition or threats. Instead, you see them as partners, allies, and opportunities to grow together. You are more willing to give, to share knowledge, and to support others because you don't believe that their success diminishes yours. This mindset creates stronger relationships and networks because people are drawn to those who radiate confidence and generosity. Scarcity thinking isolates you, but abundance thinking connects you because it operates on the principle that there is enough for everyone. Another powerful aspect of abundance thinking is its impact on creativity, When you operate from scarcity, your mind is consumed with fear, and fear stifles creativity because you are too focused on what might go wrong. But when you see life through a lens of abundance, your creativity flows because you're not bound by fear. You are willing to take risks, explore new ideas, and invest your energy into growth because you believe in possibilities. This mindset is why many breakthroughs, innovations, and great achievements come from those who chose to believe in abundance, even when their circumstances didn't reflect it yet. Abundance thinking unlocks your potential because it gives you permission to dream bigger without being held back by what you don't have right now. Abundance is also deeply tied to faith and trust because it requires you to believe that there is more available to you than what you can see in the moment. Scarcity thinking is rooted in fear that there is not enough to go around, but abundance thinking is rooted in trust that opportunities, resources, and blessings are limitless for those willing to pursue them. This trust removes anxiety and creates peace because you no longer live with a constant fear of losing what you have. Instead, you operate with confidence that you can always create more, that there is always another opportunity, and that your value is not dependent on external circumstances. This trust becomes a source of strength because it allows you to move forward boldly even when your situation looks limited. Living with an abundance mindset changes how you view challenges because instead of seeing them as setbacks, you see them as opportunities for growth. Scarcity thinking interprets problems as proof that you are failing, but abundance thinking sees them as lessons that refine you, prepare you, and position you for something greater. This shift in perspective is transformative because it turns every obstacle into a stepping stone. When you believe that abundance is your reality, you approach difficulties with creativity, resilience, and determination rather than fear or self-pity. This mindset is what separates those who are crushed by adversity from those who rise stronger because abundance thinking gives you the vision to see opportunity even in the hardest moments. The truth that abundance is a perspective, not a price tag, also liberates you from the belief that your worth is tied to material possessions. When you truly internalize this principle, you realize that your value as a person is unshakable regardless of what you own. This frees you from the pressure to constantly prove yourself through achievements or status because your identity is rooted in something deeper than external validation. It gives you the power to enjoy wealth and success without being enslaved by them because you understand that abundance is not about accumulation, but about appreciation, growth, and purpose. This perspective empowers you to live fully in every season, whether you have much or little, because your sense of wealth is not tied to numbers, but to mindset. Gratitude multiplies opportunities because it shifts your entire perspective, opening your eyes to blessings and possibilities that you would otherwise overlook when focused on lack or dissatisfaction. When you choose to live with a grateful heart, you train yourself to see value in every moment, every person, and every challenge. And that awareness creates space for growth. A person who is grateful operates differently because they are not consumed by negativity or entitlement. Instead, they carry an energy that attracts people, resources, and ideas. Gratitude transforms your mindset from scarcity to abundance. And that mindset is magnetic because opportunities flow to those who are ready to see and seize them. When you live in gratitude, your vision becomes sharper and your ability to identify doors that are already open to you increases. Gratitude also multiplies opportunities because it creates a sense of joy and positivity that draws others towards you. People are naturally attracted to those who radiate appreciation and positivity because gratitude makes you pleasant to be around. In business, relationships, and leadership, this energy is powerful because it builds trust, strengthens connections, and inspires loyalty. When you show genuine appreciation for others, they are more likely to collaborate with you, support you, and open doors for you. Gratitude is not just a personal practice. It is a strategy that helps you create lasting relationships. And relationships often hold the keys to new opportunities. People want to help those who are appreciative. And gratitude positions you as someone worth investing in. Living with gratitude changes the way you approach challenges because instead of seeing problems as setbacks, you begin to see them as opportunities for growth. This perspective gives you resilience because you are no longer intimidated by obstacles. Instead, you approach them with curiosity and strength. When you are grateful even in difficult times, you become someone who can extract lessons and value from situations that would discourage others. This ability to see good in the midst of struggle positions you for success because opportunities often come disguised as problems. A grateful heart helps you see solutions more clearly, and as you solve problems, you create new possibilities for yourself and others. Gratitude multiplies opportunities because it develops a mindset of stewardship, teaching you to maximize what you already have. When you are thankful for your current resources, skills, and opportunities, you use them wisely instead of waiting for something bigger to come along. This attitude of excellence attracts more because when you demonstrate that you can handle little, you prove that you can handle much. Gratitude turns your attention from what's missing to what's available. And when you focus on maximizing the resources in your hands, those resources begin to grow. The more you appreciate and invest in what you already have, the more opportunities will open up to you because gratitude leads to diligence and diligence leads to increase. Another reason gratitude multiplies opportunities is because it keeps your heart humble and teachable. When you are genuinely grateful, you recognize that success is not built alone and that every opportunity is a gift. This humility allows you to learn from others, accept guidance, and remain open to growth. Pride and entitlement close doors because they create resistance in relationships and limit your ability to grow, but gratitude breaks down walls because it shows others that you value them and their contributions. A grateful person never stops learning, and as they continue to grow, more opportunities come their way because they are prepared to handle them. Gratitude also helps you build momentum because when you appreciate small wins, you are motivated to keep going. Many people miss out on opportunities because they only celebrate big milestones, but gratitude teaches you to celebrate every step forward, no matter how small. This creates energy and motivation that fuels consistent action, and consistent action always produces results. Gratitude turns your journey into a source of inspiration rather than frustration, which keeps you moving forward even when progress feels slow. That steady progress opens doors over time, and what once seemed impossible becomes attainable because gratitude kept you moving instead of quitting. A grateful mindset also increases creativity because it keeps you focused on solutions instead of problems. When you are thankful for what you have, your mind is free to imagine new ways to use it. This creativity opens doors that others may not see because they are too focused on lack or fear. Gratitude unlocks innovation because it teaches you to see potential in everything around you. The ability to take something small and turn it into something great is a direct result of a grateful heart that recognizes value where others see nothing. This skill multiplies opportunities because it allows you to create your own paths rather than waiting for someone else to hand them to you. Gratitude also builds emotional resilience, which is essential for recognizing and seizing opportunities. Life is full of challenges, and those who are easily discouraged often miss out on great chances because they give up too soon. Gratitude strengthens your emotional foundation because it keeps you focused on what is working instead of what is not. This resilience makes you stand out because people are drawn to those who maintain hope and positivity under pressure. The ability to stay calm, focused, and grateful in adversity is a leadership quality that attracts opportunities because it shows strength of character. When you live with gratitude, you naturally give more, and generosity always creates opportunities. A grateful person understands that abundance is not about hoarding, but about sharing. And when you give your time, your knowledge, and your resources, you create a ripple effect that comes back to you multiplied. Giving positions you as someone who adds value to others, and when you consistently add value, doors begin to open because opportunities flow to those who create impact. Gratitude fuels generosity, and generosity builds influence, making gratitude one of the most powerful forces for growth and success. Gratitude multiplies opportunities because it transforms your entire outlook on life, making you a magnet for favor and blessing. It shifts your mindset from scarcity to abundance, from fear to faith, and from frustration to fulfillment. When you live in gratitude, you become someone who is not only aware of the opportunities around you, but also capable of creating more. Your attitude determines your altitude, and gratitude is the mindset that lifts you higher, attracting more relationships, more growth, and more success than you could have imagined if you only focused on what you lack.